This is Jackie with Jackson Rose, and I'm coming to you today to talk about the ribbon wrap. This is a pattern that I have not released yet, that I am doing a sort of a test knit along on Patreon, and it's a completely different format than anything I've encountered before. I'll show you Richard's ribbon, and then we can talk about why it's compelling to me. So these two colors are so Richard. This is linen quill, and I started off wanting to make him sort of a mallard or pheasant looking ribbon, and this was the first half, and this cowrie pink was the first color that I decided had to be there. As I went along, the colors kept changing. I think this is beach grass, and Richard insisted grasshopper green was the way to go. So these wraps are designed where these two colors that show up in this ribbon are going to show up in a ribbon that beats it, and that's going to be very significant because the idea of these things is the confluence. As I knit along, it was very interesting and beautiful to realize I knit into it unplanned the tulip tree blossom that I've never seen one in bloom before, and we have one here. And of course these ribbons for me are the Mississippi River. So this is the first side, but it ended up not looking at all like a mallard dock. It was very inspired by Richard went in and pulled out like 11 colors that he liked or so. So I had those to work from. And then it was Pichi Omo and these, men in their yellow and camo and whatnot. I really loved that palette, and these are the colors of Richard's house, and so it all just sort of came together. And then as you do the second side, there's a little bit of uncertainty, but again, those two colors, the green and the yellow, feed into the second side, so these are actually 60% the same. And the way they meet, I was given back the mallard at the very end with the second ribbon, which is this deep dark blue, and of course this had to be here, this teal color. So the way the colors meet for me is half the reason why I love knitting these so much, because it's sort of like one way of looking at the world, and then here's another way of looking at the world. Same inputs, so many of these colors are the same, they're just rearranged differently, and you get something that's also beautiful. The way these wraps work, they're just big triangles, and you put it on like that, and you have little bits that pop out. In my particular folding just now, there wasn't very much brown popping, but oftentimes there's a lot more. So I can put it that way, I can put it this way, and what happens is Richard just ended up wearing this around all the time. Like, it's sort of like a blanket in the house, on the porch. We have two chairs. This is one of them, and his sits in one chair, and my original one sits in the other chair, which I'll just remind you, here's my original. And the ribbon in and of itself is this idea of faith and connection and friendship, and so you just keep wrapping and you get these glorious, fantastic wraps in the winter, and in the summer it ends up being like this out on while you're taking a nap. you just have one wrapped around you. Here's the meeting on this one. So same two colors, denim and red, but showing up very differently. This one was very much like me and Richard and coming together. Again, the key idea in here for me, for all of these, is that there's no one way of looking at things. And in fact, when we can hold things next to each other and just allow that holding of two things next to each other, neither has to be right or wrong. That practice feels really, really what I need right now at this time, in the macro sense. In the individual sense, I cannot tell you what a joy the journey is of developing these ribbons, telling stories, having the colors surprise you and show up in ways that you wouldn't expect. So in order to have the ribbons unfold for you, on our Patreon, we've been doing a lot of storytelling around color, a lot of looking at images that inspire us and recognizing that capacity to have something vitalize you is something to notice, to pay attention to, and to keep paying attention to again and again. And that's what these ribbons do. You practice the art of observation and emptying, and everyone's ribbon can be completely unique to them, rather than this idea of, which we're working on the Patreon, is coaching away from, oh, so-and-so's good with color, I can't do color, into what colors do you need? What colors delight you? What colors are you observing around you right now? And the whole thing is an immersion in your own experience. I guess I find with aging that just focusing on standards, external standards of what's beautiful, what's appropriate, those are meant to be guidelines, and that is completely fine. But what's really wonderful is discovering for yourself, what do you need? What are you drawn to? What attracts you? And making that for yourself. These two pieces, because so much of myself is invested in them, so much of the story of what I've been living into and living through, like these palettes are not just, they're everything to do with my life. And so I look at them and I am reminded of me and of my story, and the story of Richard and I coming together, the story of being in England, the story of putting a garden outside, which is what I've been doing a lot of, and just the collaboration between, as I'm making this, me and the universe around me. It's just an absolute delight to be in collaboration with the world, be noticing, be looking for clues, and be knitting that. So people have been saying, when's the pattern releasing? And I'm writing it up as not as a object pattern that where you knit it and you get the object, but as a pattern about the experience of how I encounter color and how and story, and how I incorporate those in my knits. So that's why the pattern isn't ready yet, but it'll be ready in the perfect time for you, because these things, like, even if it seems appealing or exciting, I mean, I love that and thank you for that. And also, we just have to trust that the timing will be just right. I have to trust that, and not rush it. myself and offer that same to you, because the thing is it's a very slow knit, and there's seasons in the knit of doubt. There's all this, it's not just none of that was arrived at in a straight linear way. There was so much ripping out and swatching or drawing or sketching or changing my mind. And that's not a failure. I feel like that's the abundance of creativity, is just this being receptive to hunches and then deciding, do I want to go in that direction? Do I like that direction? And so that whole process of attuning yourself to this kind of quiet, listening way of making is what it's all about. And if that's not for you, that's completely fine. If what I'm saying sounds utterly pretentious, that's completely fine. Then this project isn't for you. And there's like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of other shawls to make. But I would say for me, those two shawls, and like I absolutely want to have, I can't stop, I just never can stop looking at them, because they're like my diaries or whatever. But, or not even my diaries. They're just so intimately connected to my life. So it's kind of like friendship, where a friend doesn't have to give you advice. Sometimes it's just the fact that they're there, that they're witnessing you, that witnessing and being present and not having this rush to solve everything is the quiet but very substantial offering of a big garter shawl like that. So sort of, if you're keen to make one, the main thing is that to start is the two main colors. You only have, I mean, you literally can just do this as you go, but I try to choose main colors that are easy to wear, easy to have in my life, easy to have around. So neutrals, or just that kind of thing. I mean, there's only, like, see, I've got grays and browns and grays, and then this is the only one that had a color in it. And of course you could do it any way you wanted, but what I really love, and this third one that I'm working on, I mean, I'm just working on it in my brain right now, is when I had my colors done, I don't know, maybe it was like 2 years ago now, some of my favorite colors were not my colors. And I found that very problematic. And these ribbon wraps are a way to absolutely put my favorite colors in the ribbons no matter what, because if I'm surrounded by lots of my best color, I can easily have the golds, the yellows, the bronzes be little bits of ribbon. And I'll show you that in a wink I've made. The wink here is made out of fua, and it's a smaller scale, so it doesn't have, the other one had 11 colors and this has only 6. But the two main colors are just, grays that are very easy for me to wear, but then I can have some of these other colors in here. And these are wonderful when you just need a little extra something, like it's cool and you just need something around your neck. At night, I don't know, something about having your neck warm is amazing. So this is fua, which is just feels fantastic. So the pattern will have the small option, the large option, and the medium size when it's available. And The last two patterns, and this will be the third that I brought out this way, where there are series, Soho Square and then Shrug Season, I worked exactly like I'm working now, where I developed it for the whole like half a year and then released it right around my birthday, which is August 6th. And I'm sort of on the same path, only this time I decided to not just do it in secret and share the process with you and share the process on Patreon, and hear and coach people with their color selections, because I find it, I just find it such good medicine, this working with color super intentionally and slowly and having a big palette. So I've said this in other videos. I have a link to Pearl Soho, an affiliate link, and one of the ways to access and have abundant color is they have mini bundles of linen quill. And so it's not the entire palette, but it's a lot. And of course, for one of these shawls, this takes 2 full skeins. These main colors take, but lots of these ribbons are just little bits and bobs of stash. I will say that within the ribbon, the 2 main colors that you choose within the ribbon, those are more than a mini skein's worth, so you'd need more than that. But it isn't just, it's also, I just want to state, it's not just random the way the ribbons are developed. I mean, I ripped and ripped and ripped and re-knit those too. The actual width of the ribbon and the way they flow into each other is intentional, because the way the colors meet at that intersection is very intentional, or the way they don't meet, or the way the variety gets to express itself or be amplified. And so sometimes, again, it's fine. Like, I've had people comment that this is just a half and half with stripes, and that's absolutely true, that there's it's developed from Pearl Soho's free pattern, originally the half and half triangle wrap, which I made, I don't know, 6 or I don't know if it was 6 or 8 or something. And then Soho Square was my pattern, where I worked with the Fibonacci sequence to create this real, I would say a proportion that felt very soothing, didn't feel jarring at all. And then now I wanted more colors. So Soho Square was 4 colors. And I just am so drawn to the ribbon itself, ribbon being our way of having, when I was in 3rd grade, I taught Middle Ages history and heraldry. And I just find these ribbons are a nice modern way of having symbols for ourselves, symbol making, and wearing these. Obviously there was regimental stripes and they meant things. There's teams have colors that are associated with them. So why not we have colors that are really like our own key colors? So like these colors are so richer to me. So it's this opportunity to take I knit and knit and ripped and ripped and ripped to find 2 vessels, 2 stripe sequences that are really, I feel like they have a really nice balance with each other. And then you fill them with the colors and the stories of your life, and you take the risks and decide but how you want it to be, and you discover how one back and forth round or row of a color can have such a huge impact, whereas another color is, 30% of that ribbon, and it sort of plays a supporting role. Like, it's very fun to, as you are playing around in these ribbons, see it's a whole color theory class just happening in your hands to see what one color looks like next to color A versus what it looks like next to color B. It's absolutely fascinating. And it would be really, you could, I could write the pattern for you to get, exactly this. I want to exactly this. Only I want to put it on, I don't know, a celery green background, and that's fine. But you won't have all of those experiences along the way. So that's what we've been doing on Patreon. We meet and we talk about our color choices. So far, I would say most people are just knitting this first section, just this solid section. And I find that is like such an incredible warm-up too, as you knit that and you gather and you gather and you gather images and you play with your color and you leave them around you. I just can't tell you how much I love that experience. And I guess I'll say, was it a surprise at all that when I was home for my mother's Sally journey, I was home for her exhibit that she had at the Good Day shop, and she let me keep this pillow. And I see how my mother does, if you're not familiar with her, Sally Journey Quilts on Instagram, she's a quilt artist, she's a watercolorist, and she does series of work. She gets inspired by something and goes in again and again and again, and I find myself doing the same thing. I love these ribbons and these stripes, and I'm knitting them again and again and again, and I'm letting myself be carried away with that. I have plenty of clothes to wear, so it's not like I need clothes. This is more of an art form for me, of a way of expressing myself. It feels way more like poetry than prose. It's not that I'm trying to fill a gap in my wardrobe. I'm trying to make something enchanting and that has, some piece of me that will be knit into that cloth of either my love for Richard or this is definitely my move to, away from where I've grown up to living along the Mississippi River now. So that's ribbon. I wanted to show you the second one. I will be developing it, and it's coming out over time, but I wanted to just pop on and put up a short video. On Patreon, I tend to share a lot of readings and poetry that kind of supports my thinking around these things. And this morning I just wanted to keep this shorter and just practice. It's funny with these podcasts, you have to practice speaking your truth. And when your truth veers away from a formula, which with the formula in knitting would be, this is what I knit, this is what I use, this is what I bought, this is what I plan to knit next. And then when you don't have that as a formula and it's just me sitting here, God bless that formula, and it's fine if it works. And if it's what you want, there's nothing, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. I'm just saying that without that formula, it is this wonderful interrogation of like, why are you here? Why are you doing this? What do you have to justify taking up people's time. And so here's my message about that and what I'm finding and what I'm reading about. I'm reading about creativity and courage, and I'm getting the message again and again that there's this emptiness, this necessary stillness and quiet. And if it is all filled with the rush of what's going on outside of us, what makes us anxious, what makes us angry, what makes us worried, what we want, what we don't want. If there's too much in us, then maybe we get out of balance. Maybe we just become too attuned to the outside world. And maybe we need each of us, some stillness and some quiet inside to listen, to imagine, because more than anything right now, it seems to me, our compassion and our creativity are being called upon, and to grow those things and to figure out for ourselves, each of us for ourselves, how to be in these times. So this project is very deliberately slow and calling in that way of creating. It's almost like a collaboration between you and your own still center, your own memories, your own hopes and dreams that you're calling in for the future. And if that seems, again, because I get these messages, if that seems ridiculous, I mean, that is completely fine. But it's an offering. There's so many offerings. There's all the kinds of offerings anybody could need or want. And so if my offering is what you need and want, then pick it up and use it as a tool for self, I would say self-witnessing and compassion and that play and creativity that is so absolutely essential to have, like, I'm 53, and so in this part of my life, I don't want to become think I know everything, or be brittle, or regret, or hold on to. I want to have this accumulated, lived experience of things that I have loved, things that I have let go of, people who I care about, people who have hurt me, people who have delighted me. I want to have room for all of that. And I think knitting a ribbon wrap and the way color works, and color isn't right or wrong, and color is just how much and where, that feels like a good metaphor for what I need right now, and I'm offering it to you. So on my Patreon, there is a chart for this, for the classroom tier, and they have started, but obviously these things take as long as they take, and I don't care. But if you're compelled or interested, we've done Zooms and we've saved them there. And then, but the full pattern will come out probably around my birthday, August 6th. And then in the meantime, I'll be making more little experiments, big ones, just playing around. I love that, for instance, the bag I have that I carry, up this leather bag, it's this color. So if I want more of it out, just wear it like that. You know, it's just a little, somebody, there's a line, the flag of our disposition. That's what these are, the flag of my disposition. I feel like I could make loads of these just to have like, who am I today? What is my mood today? I did one that was all about, it was a very kind of tongue-in-cheek strawberry one, you know. It was very summery and delightful, and the green reminded me a lot of like the baskets of those little plastic baskets that you'd get strawberry in. But even this, like, I just love the way it has some complexity, like it's a floral, but you just knit it and you have just a little pop out, and it's no different than so many of the things I love, where like this feather pin, this is from Pittsburgh Mercantile, you know, it has little bits of yellow and red and little polka dots, and just start to notice the way there's a lot of color in things, and you just start to look around, and then you get to play with adding color in. These things are fun because they take like 2 days to make, and they're just ways of experimenting and playing with color. I was given fuwa to play with, and I had such a good time with that. I have a big cable knit on my needles that has been there. I haven't picked it up for a few months. I'm trying to decide if I want to start over and knit it bigger, so that Richard and I both can wear it. It's just that there was a lot of knitting, but when I realized that it wouldn't be, we share a couple sweaters now, and I think that's so fun, and I was like, oh, this one would only fit me, and it felt kind of sad, so it made me want to re-knit it. My mother and sister are coming down for a visit next week, and maybe Lily, and Heron and Joe hopefully will be down soon too, so that'll be fun to show them the Mississippi in summertime. Thank you for hanging out with me, and again, if you're interested, check out my Patreon. If my knitting has inspired you to investigate the linen quill palette, I love it if you use my affiliate link. That really helps me continue to do this, and I hope that you're having a wonderful June, and I will talk to you soon. Okay, bye.